What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 59 of The Climb here with Luzenac. Today, it's our first ever shot at real, proper silverware. Yes, it is the French Cup final, ladies and gentlemen. Ourselves taking on Nice. It's the Coupe de France final, and I'm quite excited. It's going to be played in the National Stadium, which is very, very exciting. All the tickets have been sold. Our fans are turning up in force, and well, I would argue that we go into this game slight underdogs today. Nice going okay in the league, actually. They're in 9th. As you can see, we currently sit 2nd, which is obviously great to see with 4 games remaining. Today, we are going to cover the 2 games since you were last here. We're going to do the final. But before all of that, and by all of that, I mean just the final, we will talk about this year's youth intake, or rather, I want to say the lack of it. There was a youth intake. It was just awful. It was the worst intake I think I've had ever at Luzenac. We'll talk about it in a second. First, let's talk about the goings-on on the pitch, which in themselves have been a bit of a mixed bag. This month of April has been tricky. So yes, of course, we have got one eye ahead, I suppose, to the Europa League semi-final against Athletic Club Bilbao. But for now, we need to shift a slight focus onto the league. And well, in the first of 2 league games, we won 4-1 against Toulouse, our local rivals, a team who have been a little bit of a thorn in our side. We've never done a great job, I suppose, of getting particularly consistent results against them across a season. But in this game here, we were very, very good. We went 2 goals ahead via Marlon Adriano and Sesko. They then scored perhaps the goal of the game. It was Dennis Mann with it, a ridiculous effort from range. They didn't create a lot. That was perhaps their best opportunity of the game, and they took it. And, well, we responded almost immediately. If there was even a hint at a comeback, it was shut down by Kofi. And then Barry Marsden turned up with a goal. Great to see him back on the score sheet. The Scot, of course. I say the Scot, he's English. Is he part Scottish? Barry Marsden, to me, just sounds Scottish. I don't know why I've said he's Scottish. Barry, are you part Scottish? He's not. He's from Leighton. I guess I'm just getting him and James Connolly muddled up. I'm going to use that as the excuse. But even then, James Connolly himself is a Scotty in hiding. He's decided he's part French. Either way, it was lovely to see Marsden get a goal, as well as Marlon Adriano. And, well, as you can see between them now, 14 goals. Not bad for a couple of centre-backs. Anyway, the other game that we had was a little bit disappointing. A 1-0 defeat against Bordeaux. There was a lack of chances in this game, a lack of goals in this game. And, well, they came away 1-0 victors at home. And there was not a great deal to tell you other than that. I was a little bit disappointed off the back of that. But anyway, despite only winning 1 and losing 1 of our league games, we are still in 2nd. What is worth noting is the fact that a few of the teams behind us have got games in hand. We're not going to dwell on that too much. Right now, we are 6 points in the Champions League spots. It's far from a foregone conclusion, but at least for now, there's a cushion that I can enjoy and savour. Whether or not that's still going to be there going right into the tail end of the season, I suppose remains to be seen. This season has a really, really compact tail end, as you will have noticed in recent episodes. There has not been a lot of time between games. There is no exception really here. We have Nice today. Tomorrow, we've got both games against Athletic Club Bilbao as well. Yes, there is just match after match after match, it feels like, at the moment. And, well, they're all pretty big. This perhaps the biggest, though, the final. As I said, before we go into that final, before we talk about it too much, let's talk about the youth intake, because we did have a youth intake. I think I signed 1 player from the youth intake, which might give you an indicator of how just bad it was. Yes, in fact, the only player I signed was Ortiz, who himself is... He's okay. He's not terrible. He's 15. He's a good young centre-back, but he was head and shoulders kind of the best player in our yearly intake. I mean, we might as well praise his training a little bit, I suppose. He's got a little bit of a potential, but, you know, with how stacked our team has been, both our reserve team and its talent, and, of course, the under-19s and its talent, yeah, it's hard to describe it as anything but disappointing, I suppose. Just on the kind of youth prospect front, you can see here Alec Tanguy, who, of course, we had in last year's youth intake, the standout player back then. He's had an okay first year at the club, a bit kind of under the radar in terms of development. He's had more improvements as of late. His physicals on the whole have been improving a lot, though, which is a big, big positive, particularly for a player who does have a degree of injury proneness. There's always a concern that he'll never really develop physicals, that, you know, he'll have injuries that will constantly peg him back. So far in his first year at the club, he's avoided serious injury. Touch wood, that is going to remain the case. And he's looking pretty blooming good for us, to be fair. Across the team as a whole, though, we have been trying to give youngsters a few more opportunities here and there. You know, James Connolly this year has made a handful of appearances. Obviously, Oliver Lionel made his debut in the second leg of the games against Dynamo, which was great to see. And another player who I've been giving a few games to more recently has been Brahim Abdesamad, who of course has been a player who came through the youth intake a few years ago, a left-footed player, played 1 game last year. So far this year he's played 2 games. He's not wowed by any means, but he looks like he could be a pretty good prospect. At the age of 18, lots of potential. Keeping an eye on him, but perhaps not in the same level as Kofi, who has continued to develop. This year has, of course, acquired the player trait, likes to take first-time shots as well as likes to round the keeper. And to be fair, Kofi's pretty blooming good, isn't he? Continuing to get capped by the under-21s. 10 goals in the league, 5 assists, and to be fair, across the board, the goal scoring's just been superb. I touched upon it a little bit last episode, but it's not like we're looking at Sesko for goals. It's not like we're leaning on one player to get to be the difference maker. Yes, he is quickly approaching 20 goals for the season, which in itself is great, but the supporting cast have really chipped in, which has just been great to see. Felipe Jonathan, by the way, 12 assists from left back, and Sardella with 8 assists from right back as well. Pretty good numbers by the fullbacks this year, alongside the likes of Ari and Kofi, who have also been big contributors throughout this year. And to be honest, it's just been a really good team performance this season. Obviously, there's been quite a focus, I guess, on the Europa League and then the French Cup now, and so you've perhaps not seen as much of the Ligue 1 season this year. Of course, we're currently in 2nd, we're looking pretty good. Last year we finished 6th. I feel like this year we've really shown just a degree of maturity. Lots of the players we signed have had a big impact, namely the fullbacks, obviously Felipe Jonathan and Sardella, new signings this year. Bra, though, slotted into the team superbly to replace Xavi Williams. He has been top drawer. 7.46 rating for him as a deep line playmaker is nothing to be scoffed at. And I don't know, I'm really happy with the group of players I've got, and I think the fact that we're in so many competitions going towards this tail end of the season is a pretty good kind of indicator of where we're at right now. Anyway, just a little bit of injury news. Unfortunately for us, we are going to be without Felipe Jonathan today. He's got picked up a little injury. I think that was last game, but I can't exactly remember. Either way, apparently a fitness test is not required. He's got 69% condition. I don't know about anyone else. If a player has below 90% condition, they're basically dead to me. I'm not even weighing up the possibility of including them in the team. So he is going to miss out today. But the rest of the squad is pretty much full strength. I guess the only debate is how do you get Kuskaric into the team when you've also got Kofi in the team. I have been juggling things around in the final third, but we have perhaps one or two too many attacking talents, which I guess on the grand scale of problems to have probably isn't the worst problem in the world. It's also worth noting that some of the players on the bench, the likes of Galvez and Socki, even Ortiz and Elliott to an extent, and Huskaric, they've all started a lot of games this year. We have rotated things around this year in Europe, and I think that has been quite important to our success and perhaps can go some way to explaining not just how far we've made it in competitions, but also maybe a little bit of the inconsistency that we have shown here and there. But anyway, enough about our team. Let's look ahead to this French Cup final, the Coupe de France. We are going to be taking on Nice. They're currently 9th in the league. Their key player is Tedic here, who is a pretty formidable Serbian forward. This game could feature a hell of a lot of Serbians. Apparently he hates big matches, which, well, suits me going into this final. A few other names you might recognise, like Puig. I think it said Pug, or I don't know how it's said. We had him in one of our save games in a few Football Managers ago, and I just called him the Pug, like as in the dog. But that's definitely not how you say it. But the Pug is on their team. They've also got Brazil here, who looks pretty good actually. Portuguese attacking midfielder, loves big matches. He looks exactly like the kind of player who will bang a hat-trick against us in this kind of game. It's going to be interesting as well to see if they do stick with this 5-at-the-back formation, Nice, because that could make them pretty difficult to break down. Either way, let's get into this. A huge moment in Luzenac history, a huge moment for me as a manager here at Luzenac. We've never really gone on runs in the French Cup, and we've gone from, I think, never reaching the quarter-final to finding ourselves one game away from silverware, and also knowing that, obviously, we're not taking on PSG in the final, which is the equivalent of the bogeyman. PSG are the bogeyman. You don't want to face them, you fear them, you know that they're just going to appear when you least want them. Nice killed the bogeyman for us. It's now on us to kill the killers of the bogeyman, win this game here, and take all the fame, claim, and glory. And that's what we're hopefully going to do here. Whether or not that's possible, I suppose, remains to be seen. This should be a pretty good test of character ahead of another couple of big games coming up, of course, with the Europa League semi-final on the horizon. Anyway, 20 minutes gone. Koza has picked up a booking. Of course, he is the replacement at left back, so a little bit of concern there. But we've got a chance. Ari whips it in. Marsden, the Englishman, heads over the crossbar, unfortunately, for us there. That was a pretty good opportunity. 30 minutes gone, and that is the only chance we've seen. Nice having a lot of the ball, but as we have learnt during our time here at Luzenac, we're not bothered about having the ball for long spells. We'll just look to break quickly with it. And, well, it would be fair to say that so far this final has hardly been a classic. It's 0-0 at the break, ladies and gentlemen. Kofi's now picked up a booking. Ball whipped in by them. Tomov holds onto it. Yeah, not a lot's happened. Part of me wants to change things up. Part of me's kind of a little content with how this is going right now. Of course, with this being the only game of today's episode, I was kind of hoping it'd be a big action-packed one. And, well, it still could be. There's still 45 minutes of football. And Kofi has decided he's not liked what someone has said in the crowd there, and he's decided to kick the ball at them. Definitely wasn't a shot. No chance it was a shot. Set piece now here. Ari to whip it in. Goalwards, it's cleared away. They could catch us out here. They are breaking away quickly. Chris bringing the ball forward for Nice here. Can we stop him? Samola through on goal. Tomov, huge stop. Questionable goalkeeping to say the very least. I think it's time to change some stuff up. We are going to bring in Huskaric. I'm going to change Lopez to a deep line forward on attack. And I think we're going to do some changes somewhat comparable to the changes we did against PSG a little way back. You may remember that game. It was a pretty good one, I suppose, in the history of Luzenac FC. But really, not looking to abandon our game plan too much. Just want to get on a second striker. May start to lose the midfield battle a little bit here, but it's not like we've dominated possession anyway, so I'm kind of okay with gambling on that. Lopez now playing higher up the pitch, gives it to Ari, who plays it to Sesko. Sesko, can you finish it? It's blocked, but Ari's there to give us the lead after 56 minutes. A degree of fortune in the way that the blocked shot fell in the path of the Spaniard, but his 8th goal of the season could be his most important. Lopez threading that ball through. Ari with acres of space. Superb ball to Sesko. Had a pretty good effort. Blocked by the defender. Keeper was already committed to the previous effort, though. We take the lead. First blood, Luzenac. Let's go. Come on. I want silverware here at Luzenac. And whilst we are running on a shortening kind of timeline with FM21 knocking, I want to win stuff. I want to win stuff. And whilst Liga could be difficult, the French Cup is one that I want to tick off my collection book. Can we do it here? Could we get a second? A goal cushion is nice. 2 goals would be nicer. Kene could have a long shot. Doesn't. Huskaric on off the bench. Alexander Huskaric. I'm sorry I didn't start you, friend. I'd like to issue a public apology to him. 11th goal of the season. Nohan Kene with the assist. And you could say this is turning into quite a Nice result. Really nice play again by Ari, though, stretching them down that right-hand side, created the space on the near side for Huskaric to exploit. He finds the back of the net. Goal number 11 for him. 2 goals from 3 shots on target. Clinical today. Although, to be fair, it's not like we've given up a load of opportunities. We've not seen any highlights for Nice. 10 minutes left. Let's make some changes. Lopez has been a bit quiet. Let's bring in Sergio Ortiz. And I think we'll hold on to our last change for now, just in case of emergencies. But Sergio coming on, the Mexican who has kind of just popped up with so many late important goals on off the bench this season. Could he add another one to the scrapbook? This is the kind of game he does score in. I love how versatile he is down the middle of the team, Sergio. He can just offer us so much as that kind of impact sub anywhere down the middle. So great going forward. Could get an opportunity here. Ari is tackled. Nice will believe that if they get one, there is time for another, and they have caught us out on the break here. Tedic for on goal. Can Tomov make a stop? He can't, and things get interesting. Of course, it's the man who hates big matches, scoring on a fairly big stage here. 2-1. Part of me wants to go more defensive. Part of me knows the reason that we were able to get our noses ahead in this game is because we gambled, because we decided to change how we've played. With that in mind, with 5 minutes left, I'm going to stay on the front foot. I think attack is the best form of defence. I think that's kind of just how Football Manager works, unfortunately. I like to think of kind of mentality as more a risk factor of how many men you're allowing to commit forward. And well, oh, it's beautiful. We've not seen red and blue confetti in a few years. There it is. Beautiful stuff. 2-1 Luzenac. A little bit of an anticlimactic ending. No dramatic last second highlight, although I'll be honest, quite relieved about that. And, well, we win the Coupe de France. Yes, that is big. That is a sign of the progress that we have made. With that, we qualify for the Europa League. I think we've already qualified for it, technically, but I suppose we'll take it. I think that is our first Coupe de France in history. I don't envisage Lezenak having ever won one before. With that, we qualify for the Europa League. We weren't the favourites going into that game with the bookies, but we were my own favourites. And the weird thing is, right, great to win it, although I don't... Were the board bothered about it? The board wanted quarter-final football in that competition, to be fair. But yeah, as great as that is, and it is superb, don't get me wrong, I can't celebrate it. I can't celebrate it because I know what's on the horizon. I know what's coming up. We've got 2 games against Athletic Club Bilbao for episode number 60 that are either going to kind of make or break our European dream. We are in the Europa League semi-final. The Coupe de France is small fry, really. But I am nervous for the games against Athletic Club. It's going to be tough. We're going to have to be at our best. Whether or not we are going to be at our best, I suppose you'll have to tune in tomorrow to find out. But nevertheless, superb to win some silverware. We can be very happy about that. Hopefully, this smile will be around next episode. And well, hopefully you'll be around for it too. Thank you for watching today. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed. We've won some silverware. Let's go win some more. I'll see you next time. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.